Hello, and welcome to this session on how to add a loss to an Incident Records Losses tab. A loss can be the monetary loss that occurred in the course of an incident and can be associated with the incident as a whole or an involvement on the incident. You may have seen in another recording that the process of adding a loss can be done in two places, on the Losses tab or the Involvements tab. This session will focus on adding the loss on the Losses tab. On the Losses tab, we can see the options available to you for adding a loss, a recovery, a no impact, edit, and remove. We'll focus on the add loss, edit, and remove links in this training session. Also, in this tab, we can see the already added losses, recoveries, or no impacts that may have been added listed in the grid below. As well as to the right, we can see a summary of these pieces of information that have been added, whether they were entered here or on the Involvements tab. To add a new loss, click on the Add Loss link. For the purpose of this example, since we already have a loss showing, we're actually going to take a look at one of the existing losses. When adding a loss from the Losses tab, the user must identify what the loss is associated with. From the Associated Type field, we must specify if we're associating the loss to the incident as a whole, or with any of the involvements that were added under the Involvements tab. Just note that this will only show the person, organization, vehicle, and/or item involvement options if they have been entered. If we're associating the loss with an involvement, as we can see here, this will unlock the Associated To field, where we can then identify the specific involvement that we're associating it to. If we were associating our loss to the incident as a whole, we do not need to choose a value for the Associated To, and this field would remain locked. Next, enter the loss date, indicating when this loss occurred, the number of units lost as it applies, as well as the value per unit. The total field below will automatically calculate the total value of the loss by multiplying the units by the value per unit. The loss type identifies the nature of the loss. If applicable, we can also specify the reason for the actual or potential loss in the loss cause field. When recording a loss that has actually occurred, loss status can identify its current state. Under Method, select the appropriate descriptor that best defines the way in which the loss occurred or could potentially occur. By default, the Determined By person will contain your name or the name of the person who's currently logged in. But if another person had determined this loss, you may select that person from the person's database or quick add them if they do not already exist. Click OK to add your loss details and close this window. The added loss would now be visible listed below. To see this loss added to the summary window on the right, save your record. If you need to modify any of the details you've entered, as we've seen, we can select the loss. We can either double click on it to reopen our loss details window, or we can single click and select the edit link. To remove a loss, again select the record below and click on the remove link.